There are two types of interrogative sentence, that is auxiliary beginning. So this type of sentences can be used both in active voice as well as passive voice. David is not a happy person. So here we have used not here. So this is a negative sentence. Conjunction. So the conjunction is also known as linkers. Welcome dear students. I am Mrs. Reena, lecturer, Department of English at Vidyashram First Grade College, Mysuru. Today in this session, let us discuss the different language components of second semester BCom. So here we are going to discuss about the different language components like framing questions, use of negatives, linkers, and reading comprehension. First, let us look into the framing questions. So, framing questions. Now, let us look into what is framing questions. The interrogative pronouns who, what, whom, whose, which, and the interrogative adverbs where, when, why, and how are used to frame information questions. So like that, interrogative sentences are in two types. That is auxiliary beginning interrogative sentence and question word beginning interrogative sentence. So there are two types of interrogative sentence, that is auxiliary beginning, the questions beginning with the auxiliary words, then question words, the questions beginning with the question words. So let's look into what is auxiliary beginning interrogative sentences. Interrogative means questions. Okay. So interrogative sentences beginning with auxiliary verbs. Interrogative sentences beginning with auxiliary verb are known as auxiliary beginning interrogative sentences. So the answer of this type of interrogative sentence is always yes or no. So the answer of this auxiliary interrogative sentences will be always yes or no. So we call this as yes or no questions. So this type of sentences can be used both in active voice as well as passive voice. So now let us look into the common pattern of auxiliary beginning interrogative sentence in active voice. So here we use this format: auxiliary verb plus subject plus verb plus object, and always remember that at the end of interrogative sentence or the question we use the question mark. The punctuation marks which we use is the question mark. So now let's look into the example. So the common pattern in active voice. The question is, do you know grammar? Do you know grammar? Now look here. So do is an auxiliary verb. You is the subject here, know is the verb, and grammar is the object here. Hope you understood. The common pattern in active voice is, that is, it is auxiliary verb plus subject plus verb plus object. So here do is auxiliary verb, you is the subject, know is the verb, and grammar is the object. Now let's look into the common pattern of auxiliary beginning interrogative sentence in the passive form or passive voice. So here this is the method which we have to use when we write it in the passive voice. So we use auxiliary verb plus object plus past participle of verb, that is denoted as V3. Next, by plus subject. Okay. So auxiliary verb plus object plus past participle of the verb plus by and plus subject. So for example, is grammar known by you? So here is the auxiliary verb, grammar is the object, then known is the past participle. So once again I'll say is the auxiliary verb, then grammar is the object, known is the past participle of verb, then by it will be there, and you is the subject here. So now you understood the common pattern in active voice as well as in passive voice. So this is all about the auxiliary beginning interrogative sentences, the questions or the interrogative sentences which begins with the auxiliary verb is known as the auxiliary beginning interrogative sentences. Now, question word beginning interrogative sentences. Question word. So you know question word, who, what, when, WH questions. So these are the question word beginning interrogative sentences. So interrogative sentences beginning with question words are known as question word beginning interrogative sentences. Here also, let's see the common pattern in active voice and also the common pattern in passive voice. So in the active voice, this is the method we use. Question word, first should be question word should be there in this type of sentences. Question word plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus verb and plus object, and then at the end of the sentence there should be the question mark. Now, example, when did Jacob ask the question? The question is, when did Jacob ask the question? Now here, when is the question word? When is the question word? Did is the auxiliary verb. Then Jacob is the subject. Ask is the verb. And the question is the object. Got it? Question word plus auxiliary verb plus the subject, then the verb, and at the end is the object. So this is the common pattern in active voice. Now let us look into the common pattern in passive voice. So here also question word plus be forms plus object plus V3, that is the past participle of the verb. Next, plus by and plus subject. So here, so in the passive voice, when the question, both auxiliary beginning sentence also and question word beginning sentence, in the passive voice we have by here, and it will be in past participle form of the verb. So here, let's look into the example here. When was the question asked by Jacob? When was the question asked by Jacob? So when is the question word. Was is the be form. Okay, it is the be form. Then the question is the object here. Then asked by is the past participle of the verb, and Jacob is the subject. So when it is in passive voice, the subject will be at the end. Next. And the next language component is use of negatives. So what do you mean by a negative sentence? A negative sentence is a sentence states that something is false. Okay. So in English, we create negative sentences by adding the word not after the auxiliary or helping verb. Got it? It is a negative sentence is a sentence that states that something is false. So in English, we create negative sentences using the word not. Okay. So an example of an auxiliary verb is the helping verb be. Next, there are different forms that be takes, including am, is, are, was, and were. So there are different forms that be takes. Be is the auxiliary or helping verb. So helping verb like am, is, are, was, and were are used here. So be verbs. For example, David is not a happy person. So here we have used not here. So this is a negative sentence. The clouds were not blocking the sun's rays. Okay. So the clouds were not. Not is a negative word. So this makes the sentence, the word not makes the sentence negative. So the auxiliary verbs is, and were here. Okay. Next one. The opposite of the negative sentence is the affirmative sentence. That means we do not use the word not in that sentence. For example, let's see this example. David is not a happy person. That is a negative sentence. When we convert that into affirmative sentence, it looks like this. David is a happy person. And the second one, the clouds were not blocking the sun's rays. When it is changed into affirmative sentence, it looks like this. The clouds were blocking the sun's rays. Okay. So only thing is, you have to just make the sentence negative. Okay. You have to add the word not to the sentence. It will become a negative sentence. Next is linkers. So linkers is also known as the conjunctions. So linker words or word connectors. It is also linker words or word connectors. It is also known as word connectors. The connectors, the word connector itself says the work or the duty of this linkers. Okay, so it is a connecting word. Are used to link group of words, phrases, and sentences. Okay, so in the beginning you have learned this clearly in your previous classes, but the name was a little bit changed. They have used as conjunction. So the conjunction is also known as linkers. So linker words or word connectors are the words used to connect, okay, or the words used to link group of words, phrases, and sentences. Example, man proposes but God disposes. In this sentence, which is the linker? But. Okay, so the man proposes. The but is the word which is linking both these words. Next, finish your exercise or else you will not be allowed to play. And here, which is the linker? The linker is or else. Next, we cannot play cricket unless we find the ball. So, which is the linker here? It is unless. We are afraid of them, so we ran away. And which is the linker here? It is so. Next, the farmer works hard because he wants a good yield. Which is the linker word? Because is the linker word. So the word like but, or else, then unless, so, because. All these words are known as linkers or conjunctions. These are the words. So we have so many other words too, which joins or which links to group of words, phrases, and sentences. So hope you understood the meaning of linkers. and the different linker words. Next is about the reading comprehension. So you may be thinking that reading comprehension, why ma'am is explaining this, it's very easy. So here we can just copy the answer. After reading the passage, given passage, you can just copy the answer. So for example, so it's not like that. So when you answer or when you go through the passage and when you answer the questions asked, you have to follow certain rules, okay? So, or before reading that passage, you have to keep certain things in your mind. Let's see what are that and what is the, let's see the importance of reading comprehension. So the definition of reading comprehension is the ability to understand information presented in the written form is called reading comprehension. This is the definition for the reading comprehension. It is the ability to understand information presented in the written form. So, reading comprehension is the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and to integrate with what the reader already knows. So, here it's about the previous knowledge. Here, when we speak about integrate with what the reader already knows, it's about our previous knowledge. Okay, so simply if we read a passage or textbook, it's not worthy to read like that. So when we read something, we have to analyze that properly. We have to know the purpose of the writer, why he wrote that, and we have to gain some knowledge from that. Next, fundamental skills. So simply we cannot read. Everyone cannot read the things. So there are certain skills. So we require some fundamental skills in effective reading comprehension. So here are some fundamental skills required in effective reading comprehension. First one is knowing meaning of words. So without knowing the meaning of the words, it's useless to read the passage or read the textbook. We should know the meaning of the words. If we don't know, at least we have to go through the dictionary to understand the meaning of that. Next, ability to understand the meaning of a word from discourse context. That means, as I said, you have to understand the whole meaning of the, if we know the meaning of the word only, we will be able to understand the whole textbook. So, ability to follow organization of passage. Okay, here the third one is, so we should be able to follow the organization of passages. Okay, so suddenly if we have to read this in an organized way, okay, passage wise. For example, we will read the first paragraph, then we skip the second one, and if we move to the third passage or third paragraph, there it doesn't make a sense there. Okay, we may skip the whole, we may skip the continuity there. So we have to read that in an organized way. We should not miss any words or sentence or any paragraph while reading. Next, identify antecedents and references in it. So when we read, we have to go through the previous knowledge also, previous thing. Why the poet has read this, okay? And we have to go through some other references. Next, ability to draw inferences from a passage about its contents. That means after reading the whole passage, we should have the ability of reasoning that. Why? We should think, or we should be able to summarize that, or we should be able to come to a conclusion why this author has written like this or why this poet has written like this. So we should come to a conclusion. So we should have that reasonability part. Ability to identify the main thought of a passage. So we should have the ability to identify the main thought or theme of the passage. Next, ability to answer questions answered in a passage. So that last, we should be able to answer the questions and asked in the passage, below the passage. So before answering that, we have to analyze it carefully. We have to go through each and every sentence carefully, and then we have to understand the thing. So, and also we should be able to understand the meaning of each word, sentence, paragraph, etc. Next, some of the reading strategies. Okay, using prior knowledge or previewing. So when we read that, we should have some previous knowledge regarding that passage. So before reading the passage, so when we see the heading or the theme, we should have some previous knowledge. For example, it may be about a natural calamity. Okay, so the passage may be regarding a natural calamity. Before reading that, when we look into the heading or one sentence, when we read the sentence, we have to have an idea of what is natural calamity and different types of natural calamities. Then only we can move further with that. So it provides a framework. Having or using prior knowledge or previewing the subject, passage or the subject, we will have a framework. Okay. Next one, predicting. Predicting is, it sets up some expectations. For example, so when we watch a movie, in the beginning itself, some of us will predict what happens at the climax, right? So there is some expectations. So as the movie develops, we will come to know what will be the climax. That is predicting. So at the end, it may be different. Okay, the climax may be different from our prediction, but still we will be having that predicting thing helps us to think more using our previous knowledge. Next is identifying the main idea and summarization. So this one, so when you go through or when you read a poem, through the lines only we will come to know, when we read it or when we recite the poem properly, we will come to know the theme of the poem, and also we will be able to summarize that, okay, in our own words. Instead of copying the summary of others, we should be able to summarize. So for that, you have to recite the poem or passage or the prose. You have to read the textbook carefully and you have to understand that. You have to understand the meaning of the words, sentence and all. Then only you will be able to summarize that. Next, so identifying the main idea and summarization requires that readers determine what is important and then put it in their own words. That's what. So you should go through the important things or important words or themes, important lines, and then you have to summarize that in your own words. So here, when we summarize, we will come to know the purpose of the author of writing this text. So next is questioning. So asking the question or answering the questions, it helps us to know more about the context. Okay. So it helps us to know the strategy of the text, and also it helps us to know the meaning of the text. Okay. So for example, when you read something, so it's like critical analysis or critical appreciation. So when we question ourselves while after reading a poetry or prose, we will critically analyze that. So we will have so many questions in our mind and we will try to answer that, right? So this is known as, so questioning plays an important role. We may ask questions to others and also we may ask questions to ourselves, which helps us to analyze the thing carefully. So making inferences. So making inferences means coming to an conclusion. Okay, so in order to make inferences about a text or about something that is not explicitly stated in the text, we must learn to draw on prior knowledge and recognize clues in the text itself. So to come to an conclusion, okay, to know why it happened, to get a reason for that, we have to go through each and every clues which we get in the textbook or the passage when we read. So inferences means coming to an conclusion. So for example, I said the questioning power will help us to know. So we may have different types of questions, right? So why this author wrote this, why he might have written like this, so why he might have written based on the history, all that things we will come to know, and so we can make an inference there. Next is visualizing. Okay, especially visualizing plays an important role in reading textbook. Okay, so whenever, instead of reading the textbook, for so many times, repeating it again and again, if we visualize the topic properly, it will remain in our memory for long period. So studies have shown that those who visualize while reading have better recall than those who do not. Okay, so here it's a study that which says that those who visualize while reading have better recall. They can recall the things carefully. For example, so if you are learning about a palace, or if you are reading about Mysore palace, history of Mysuru. So when you speak about the achievements of or the work of the Odayars, you have to visualize the picture of Mysuru, and when you speak about the KRS Dam or Chamundi Hill, so you have to picturize that picture should be there in your mind. So when you picturize that, when you get into a palace, you have to picturize that. As soon as you enter the palace, you should go through the drawings, pillars, all that things. When you visualize that, no, you will be able to write the paragraph, or you will be able to recall whatever you have learned easily. Now, next, readers can take advantage of illustrations that are embedded in the text or create their own mental images or drawings when reading text without illustration. Okay, so sometimes you can take the illustration, and sometimes you can have your own drawing in the mind while reading a paragraph. For example, if you are reading about a cyclone, if you are reading a passage on cyclone, you can give a picture of that cyclone. You can visualize the picture of cyclone in your mind, and the effects of that cyclone, then how the cyclone appears, and after effect of that cyclone, how people suffers, and the different damages happen, everything you can visualize. Okay, so if you have the pictures or drawing in your mind, you can elaborate and write the essays or passages, etc. Hope you all understood the different language components which we went through today, that is framing questions, use of negatives, linkers, and also the reading comprehension. So whenever you attempt these questions, go through this, read it properly, and then you have to attempt. So whenever you read a passage, okay, so when you attempt a reading comprehension, before writing the answers, just analyze the paragraph well, and then you have to attempt the answers. So thank you all. Stay safe and healthy.